Hello, race fans, and welcome to the URL Hot Lap. I'm Al Smith, alongside with my co-host tonight, driver of the number 14 Ada Sign Wraps. It is AJ Buncher, also known as the Banana Man. How you doing tonight, AJ?
I'm doing fine now.
Oh, you had a pretty good run this past week at Lanier for the Varno Construction 100, which we're going to go over here. On tonight's show, also, we got a pretty big announcement to come up with next season on December 29th. We'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. And we're also going to go for a ride along with Eric Haag and the HaagTV Ford Fusion at Stafford Motor Speedway. But first of all, we're going to talk about the Varno Construction 100. And AJ, what an epic race that was. I mean, it had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a mixture of long, good, clean racing and some tempers getting flared, so we had some cautions, and it led to a pretty good finish towards the end.
We started off with CJ LeVere in the car number 44, picking up the NHR Pole Award, just dabbing it, from the number 41 of EJ O'Rourke. So those two would lead the field to the green flag. And from the start, it was a really quick pace. Everybody kind of gave and take, here and there, a little bit of bumper action. But we went green for the first 35, 40 laps of that race, and some guys were coming, some guys were going in that short amount of run. I was really surprised that we were able to make it that far before, at least someone having an issue.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought we were going to have the caution come out around lap 10 or 12, and it just kept going, so that kind of threw my strategy off a little, and once we started to settle in, I knew that if we could just stay green, that people were going to either burn up their tires and stuff, or they were going to get shoved to the outside and fall back. And when CJ managed to get in there a little too hot and spun himself out, that was what ultimately brought out the first caution.
And on that first caution, we saw one driver come down pit road, and that was the Ada Sign Wraps driver of Justin Fuller. I thought he was nuts. I think the rest of the field thought he was nuts because I've tried in practice sessions all week long leading up to it, and it takes a long time to get around that infield. And I thought for sure you would lose a lap, but Justin took 4 tires and was able to stay on the lead lap, and he would march back up through the field. But it wasn't easy for him, and we went back racing. We had some good hard racing, and then lap 60, we had the big one on the front stretch. The number 96 of Stefan Marinak and the number 81 of Josh Cotton would get together coming off turn 4 and caught up and took out some pretty good runners, including our points leader, Nicholas Rasmussen, who was caught up in that, who went down multiple laps repairing damage.
Yeah, that was crazy. That actually happened right in front of me, and I actually had to lock him up and spin into the infield and lose a whole bunch of positions. But it wasn't even really the initial wreck that made everybody lose it. It was what happened in turn 1 that caused a whole bunch of cars to get damaged, and I felt bad for Nicholas and everybody else who got damaged, but it didn't seem to take out too many cars. At least they're still able to keep running.
Definitely. And then after that, the racing just kept getting more and more intense as people's patience with each other definitely started growing thin. We had, lap 80 caution, or lap 6, around lap 75 caution would come out, and this guy really needed a good run, and he was having one. That was the driver, the number 22 of TJ Graves. He was up front leading the race, and he had a feuding Justin Fuller and Tony Manji behind them on that lap 80 restart, and it ended up not going in TJ's favor as he would get through the spin cycle as the number 51 of Fuller would tag him in the left rear, but he had a little bit of help from the 92 of Manji, as well as those two. Like I said, those two were feuding pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, there was no way all 3 of them were going to make it through the corner. Fuller tried to dive bomb him at the last second, and Tony was under Fuller below the yellow line. So there was basically like a 1 in 100 chance that they were going to make it through that corner, and it didn't happen. And we all felt bad for TJ because he's needed a good run and everything this year. He actually managed to finish the race this year, so he was actually pretty happy about that. But TJ will have more good runs, and I'm interested to see if this feud between Fuller and Manji continues.
I hope it doesn't, because those two guys are definitely hard racers, and neither of them give an inch. And on that last restart, we had a restart with about 3 laps to go. It was Tony Manji that had the lead, Justin Fuller on the outside. As I said, Fuller came in and took fresher tires on lap 35 during that yellow, and he used the outside of the racetrack, which you could hold your ground and make ground up there. It seemed like at times during the race, and they would be side by side down the backstretch, and in the turn 3. Then off turn 4, there was a little bit of contact between the 51 and the 92, and Justin Fuller would go on and take the win by 39 thousandths of a second. So I mean, it was pretty darn close there. But then in post race inspections, we had to throw some penalties out there.
Yeah, I felt bad for him just because you can't really control those kind of things. But I mean, in all reality, we had to throw the penalties. We would have done it for anybody else. It wasn't just because it was those two guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it put us in a tough situation from the admin standpoint. Here you got the race winner and the second place runner who are feuding. We talked to all parties involved with that and came up with a decision that Justin Fuller, though, gets credited in quotation points with the win. He ended up getting last place points. Got EOL'd, as you would say. So he would end up actually getting 15th place points, and the win will not count towards the chase bonus once we reset after this week coming up. And Tony Manji also was EOL'd last car on the lead lap for points. So I guess in hindsight, Philip Thompson ended up with really getting first place points, but not going to get credit for the win. And it was a tough situation. We had a few yellows like that we needed to look at, and it was a tough thing, to look through. So, but going through some of the awards from this past week's race, we have Stefan Marinak, who was charging through the field pretty quickly. He ended up getting the Ada Sign Wraps Wreck-A-Wrap Award. Not an award that anybody wants, but maybe you'll get a little bit use out of that. Then looking at the top 10 finishers, as we said, we have Justin Fuller, Tony Manji, who really ended up 15th and 16th as far as points are concerned. But they took the top 2 spots. Philip Thompson with a second straight third place finish for him, followed by AJ Bunch, EJ O'Rourke, and AO Sign Wraps Rookie of the Race, Dylan Gaudette would finish 6th, followed by CJ LeVere, Mike Holtzclaw, TJ Graves, and Danny Dubuque rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, there's definitely some names that you're not used to seeing up there, like Graves, because he's had such a bad season, and Mike Holtzclaw came out there with a really good run to get a top 10. Dylan Gaudette, I think this is his first race in the last 2 or 3. So, I mean, if he can continue to get up there in the top 10 or so, he might actually give them a run for their money in the Rookie of the Year standings. And you got Philip Thompson, finished 3rd, who's a hard charger. I mean, we've proven time and time again that you can come from way back in the field and finish in a high position if you can keep your car clean.
It was such a good race, and I was on some of the names that are sticking out that really needed good runs inside the top 10 was EJ O'Rourke, Dylan Gaudette. He had he took a couple weeks off, but he's still in there, still fighting for some positions. You have LeVere, who started on the pole. He ended up finishing 7th. Mike Holtzclaw for second week in a row with a top 10. He's really starting to turn the table, I feel, and moving up through the standings and looking pretty good. But as we look at the rookie standings, the Addison Raps rookie standings, we have Bruce Hilton on top, followed by Justin McDuff with only a 2-point margin. This is all the points are calculated so far, with only one of the 2 drops that will be calculated for the standings. Rodney Hack fell 2 positions to 3rd while missing this week due to a little bit of an issue with his equipment. Mike Holtzclaw was 4th. AJ Hamill rounds out your top 5 in the points. Cal Frenier, Jay Dubuque, Stefan Marinak, Dylan Gaudette, and Roger Holtzclaw round out the remaining rookies in the standings. And it's not over with yet. You've still got to calculate one more drop into the point standings for the rookies. And it's really anybody's game right now. It's a pretty tight race between all the rookies.
Yeah, I mean, I know from experience being in the Rookie of the Year standings last year, it came down to the last race. That second drop pretty much just puts anything out there. So, I mean, these guys are going to be fighting for every position they can get week in and week out until we get to the end of the year.
And a lot of them I've seen improve a lot this season. The one guy, Justin McDuff, he just gets into the sim in September, and he's quietly running inside the top 10. Staying out of trouble for the most part, getting caught up and stuff. I mean, that's going to happen in your rookie season. And then one guy who used to do iRacing got back into it is Bruce Hilton, and the guy's no slouch behind the wheel. He's a son of a gun to try to pass on the racetrack, but for the most part, he's a really good racer, and I'm really impressed with this year's rookie field.
Yeah, I mean, the past 2 seasons we've had really good rookie fields. I mean, heck, last year we almost had a rookie win it, like the entire championship. So I'm just curious to see if these guys, once we get into the chase, can get themselves up there and fight for that championship.
And not to mention, not only did he almost win the championship last year, but Ryan Borges is now trying to get into the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series on iRacing service. So no slouch of any driver rate as there. But as we look now at the Varno Construction standings, we have Nicholas Rasmussen up leading the points by 2 over Justin Fuller. Brandon Odo sits 3rd, Philip Thompson 4th, and AJ Bunch rounding out the top 5. Then Josh Cotton is 6th, followed by Tony Manji, Bruce Hilton, Danny Dubuque, and Justin McDuff rounding out the top 10. Stefan Marinak is 11th, and 12th is Dale O'Neill, followed by Al Smith Jr., and Rodney Hack holds the last spot for the chase cutoff as we head into this week's event at Stafford Motor Speedway. And AJ, as I'm sitting here looking at the points, the 3 drivers that I've got circled on my point sheet are the 3 guys that are locked in. You have Nicholas Rasmussen, Justin Fuller, and Brandon Odo. They can really go to Stafford and experiment. They can, try anything really this week. They're locked into the chase field.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, probably the top 6 are locked in as long as they show up. And I mean, Philip Thompson, myself, and Josh are always running up front. So, I mean, even if we do have some bad luck, I don't think, as long as we show up and get the points, we should fall out of the top 12 or top 14. I'm more or less looking at this bubble. That's where all the action's really going to happen, and I mean, the people who make it in top 14 are going to show that they really actually deserve it.
Yeah, as we look at the standings, drivers not shown on the standing sheet on screen right now. You got Mike Holtzclaw and EJ O'Rourke, who are 5 points behind Rodney Hack, who holds the last and final spot. So I mean, Rodney's got to have a pretty decent run. Has to keep those drivers behind him, or at least within sight, to stay inside the top 14. But I look at drivers that are outside looking in. You have CJ LeVere, John Ada, Brandon Wilkinson, AJ Hamill is right there. Any of the top, I would say anyone from 9th on back in the points, have a bad race, they might be on the outside looking in as we try to crown our 2015-2016 Lay Enterprises Pro Late Model champion. So, look, right now you got Rodney Hack, who is 14th, 5 points above 15th place in points. Then 1 point in front of Rodney, you got Al Smith Jr., then the tie for 10th, which is only 2 points. And then Danny's only 6 points in front of 14th, the final spot. So, I mean, these guys are hungry that are outside looking in, and the guys on the inside need to really have a good run here coming up.
Yeah, I mean, though from 9th to about 20th is where I'm going to say you could see somebody jump up there who may surprise you. And then if they can keep their hot streaks going, once they get in the chase, they could potentially come away and steal this thing.
It's going to be, I'm going to say, drama-filled, edge-of-your-seat racing this coming Thursday night, with the Upstate Racing League and the Lay Enterprises MP Roy Pro Late Model Series will head to New England to take on the Stafford Motor Speedway. Not a track that I get around pretty good with, but one guy that does, and we're going to go ride with him right now. That's the driver of the HaagTV number 98 of Eric Haag.
Thanks, guys, and yes, let's take a couple laps around Stafford Motor Speedway. This track is deceptively difficult and can prove to be a nightmare for drivers who are not ready for it. This is pretty much a bad mixture of Martinsville and Langley. What I mean by that, it's pretty much the paperclip shaped oval you see at Martinsville, USA, Thompson, and New Smyrna, but it's also got zero banking, pretty much like Langley does. So that means it is a bottom feeder's paradise, and the chrome horn will be in full effect in this race. There is no second line, so pretty much all 30 late model drivers are going to be fighting for one lane, which pretty much means, like most short track racing, tempers are going to flare, drivers are start going to get mad, and they're going to start using their bumper to move the guys ahead of them if they can't get around them. Most of the drivers you see are probably going to be hugging this bottom line like you see here. It is pretty much the safest way not to get past, but if you're holding someone up, you're going to get moved. The second way you can take this track is if you have a little bit of room behind you, you can take a little bit of a wide arc into 1 and or 3, cut down low, and get a go run down the back. But by doing that, you also leave the door open for someone to try to shove their car in there and either A, clip you in the quarter panel, or B, just plain spin you out. Tempers are going to be flaring in this race, and it is going to be amazing for you guys who watch it on the LSR TV broadcast. So pretty much, I am expecting a very interesting race. Back to you guys.
And thanks, Eric, for giving us a great look of what Stafford Motor Speedway is going to look like this weekend. AJ, I don't know about you. I'm not looking forward to Stafford. It's probably one of the worst tracks for me that the series goes to, but I'm going to have to make do with what we got as we head into this week's race.
Yeah, last year it wasn't a terrible race. You could work your way around it, but this year with the new builds and stuff, the setup's really, really, really tight, and it'll be an interesting race, that's for sure. You'll probably see the bumper used again, which has produced 3 really good finishes the last 3 races, so we will see if it can do that again this week.
As long as all the cars stay in the right direction and we can produce good racing, I'm pretty happy with it. I don't like the whole knocking people out of the way, but I understand it's part of racing. Also, are you ready? Are you ready to do this right now?
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is big. This is huge. I mean, I don't even know. I'm so excited to even tell them. I mean, can we tell them now?
I mean, I would assume so.
All right. This is what everybody's been listening for. This is what everybody's wondering. What's going to happen on December 29th of 2016? And AJ, are you ready? This is what's going down. It's going to be the first annual Upstate Racing League All-Star Race.
Oh man, I know we've talked about this for the past few years, and it's actually pretty sweet that we're actually going to do it.
It's I'm really looking forward to it. What's going to happen with this is that anybody that's won a championship over the last 5 seasons, including this season, will have an automatic lock-in for the All-Star race. Anybody that is inside the top 14 in points this year, all the chase drivers, will be invited to the All-Star race. And then all of our former Rookie of the Year contenders will also have an automatic spot in the All-Star race. And now the best part is oh, it's great for the chase guys that made the chase, but what about the guys that don't make the chase? What about them? What's the incentive to keep showing up other than to have fun and race with us weekly? Well, ladies and gentlemen, 15th place in points this year will get an automatic bid into the All-Star race, which right now we're trying to figure out the prizes. I'm thinking it's going to be something with a little bit of a cash and a trophy awarded to it. We're still working on the details, but I just couldn't hold it in any longer.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty epic race once we come to it. It's going to be the best of the best running out there, trying to get whatever that prize is, and no matter what track it is, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot of people practicing, and it'll be almost as serious as when it comes to chase time in our regular series.
I mean, this is going to be epic. And then, what about the guys that aren't locked in? Well, AJ, that was a great question that you didn't even ask, but I thought you did. But anyway, all the other racers will run a non-qualifier race. And the top 5 out of that will advance into the All-Star show. So looking forward to this. It's going to be something that's going to be pretty awesome, I think, and it's a good deal for the racers. Like I said, like we just said, the track is still to be determined, the length of it, segments, whatever we're going to do. But next year, put it on your calendar, December 29th, 2016. You will not want to miss the Upstate Racing League All-Star Race.
Yeah, it's going to be a good race for sure. You guys are going to want to tune in.
I can't wait. No points on the line. Winner takes all. Gloves will come off. We'll have cars in the fence. Sparks will be flying. Tire marks everywhere. I think this season, you think it's good, wait till next season. Next season's going to be even better. I know we still have to finish out the 2015-2016 MP Roy Pro Late Model Series, but next season, I'm already amped up for it. The schedule has been announced. It's on our website. If you haven't seen it, head on over to upstateracingleague.com and check out what the schedule looks like next year. There's a lot of good things. And then, but first of all, we have to lock in the chase this week as we head to the Stafford Motor Speedway for the Lake City RC Speedway 100. I mean, AJ, I'm just amped up. I wish there was more people here to be amped up with us because we just dropped the bombshell in the sim racing world.
Oh yeah. I'm excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. This week is going to be really intense for those guys in the bubble, and it's going to be really intense to see who can get that last win and hopefully get a bonus point going into the chase.
I definitely have the nerves are going to be up for this Thursday night. You can catch all the action live at www.upstateracingleague.com or look on YouTube for LSR TV. Add them, subscribe to them, and watch all the great action that they have on their channel. They do such a great job for us, and I think we've delivered this season so far. If you want to see all the races so far and get caught up, if you haven't been paying attention to how the points got where they are, head on over to our website and just hit where it says Watch Live, and all the races from this season are there for your viewing pleasure. AJ, it's been a great show. I can't believe it's already time to go.
I know it's definitely been one of the shorter shows we've had, but I feel like we packed a punch in there, so I'm glad the people who listen, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
All right, thanks for stopping by, AJ, and sitting in studio with me this week. And first of all, I can't thank all of our sponsors enough. From John Ada Sign Wraps to MP Roy with the Lay Enterprise and MP Roy. I tell you, if you need any bodies for your race cars, racing electronics, all that stuff, check them out at layenterprisesinc.com and just check them out, or go to our website and we have a link that'll directly bring you to their website. Lake City Speedway, Lake City Hobbies, Nicholas Rasmussen Racing, Varno Construction, Hanson Starter Shop, CKF Construction, HaagTV, and iRacing Memes, Mach 2 Management, all these guys that make it possible. Couldn't do it without them. And we're looking for sponsors for next year. So if anybody out there listening wants to be a part of this, we would like to talk to you. Let us know. Drop us an email or message us on Facebook. And you can find us on Facebook. Give us a like at Upstate Racing League. But for AJ Bunch, the Banana Man, I'm Al Smith, and we'll see you at the track.